my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about School for Psychics by K.C. Archer. Now, K.C. Archer is a pen name for, I'm guessing, probably another well-known author. I did some research online though, and I could not figure out who K.C. Archer is. If you know, let me know, because I'm super nosy, and yeah, I'd love to know. So, this is the first book in what's going to be a series. This one came out this year in 2018, so none of the other ones are out yet. And the title pretty much gives it away, what's happening in this story. School for Psychics. It's a school that sort of works with the FBI and the CIA and other government agencies to train young psychics to be able to work with them to help them solve crimes. And when I say young psychics, I mean, from what I can tell, like early to mid-20s to early to mid-30s. Like one of the characters, although it doesn't give a specific age for him, he's old enough that he used to be a cop, and because of a situation that happened, he left and now he's here. So the book starts out with our main character. Her name is Teddy Cannon, and she is a nuisance. She's dropped out of Stanford, I believe she was attending, and she's back now living with her parents in Las Vegas. She spends a lot of time gambling and has gotten herself into a lot of debt. So what she does now is she puts on a disguise and goes back into the casinos that she's been banned from so she can gamble more. On one particular day, she's doing this. She's wearing like a padded bodysuit and a wig, and she's in there and she's gambling, and somebody approaches her, and this is like the sort of dean of the school. We don't know this at first, but he approaches her. He sort of helps her get out of a sticky situation, and then he tells her who he is, where he's from, and why he wants her. And she's like, well, that's weird because I'm not psychic. And he's like, aren't you though? And then he sort of brings up how the reason she's taken such a shine to gambling is because she's really good at reading people. And she thinks that it's just because she's got a good instinct, but I guess it goes deeper than that, and he wants to help her fine-tune her skills so that she can be an asset to the FBI. So after a little tiny bit of time spent thinking about it, because she sees him one night, and then the plane tickets and everything that he's given her to go to where this school is, which is in California, the plane leaves the next morning, so she's kind of got to make up her mind really quick. And one of the things he said to her to sort of sweeten the deal is that if she comes with him, he will pay off her debt that she owns to like a loan shark, and then, her and her parents will be safe. They won't have to worry about this guy coming after them. So she's like, well, that's a pretty sweet deal. It would be hard to pass up. So she packs her stuff, leaves a letter for her parents saying that she's been accepted into another school, and she's gone. So I'm a little torn on this book. I don't know if you can tell just even from the way I'm talking about it. She gets to this school, and what I didn't like about this is, like I said, these are supposed to be slightly older people. They're not teenagers. But the rules at the school felt like it was a school for teenagers. The way the people there, Teddy and her friends, or her peers who later become her friends, the way they talk to each other, it's the way teenagers would talk to each other. It's very juvenile. It felt, every time there'd be a conversation, the dialogue would sort of pull me out of the book, because I'd be like, why is she talking like that? Why is she saying things like that? It was just, it's not the way adults would talk to each other. And then like one of the characters, his nickname is Pyro, and he's the one that used to be the police officer. Like, it just seems like no, grown man is gonna nickname himself Pyro. I don't know. Anyway, that I didn't love that. I didn't love the characters. Like Teddy, I don't really care about her much. She just seemed like a very cliched character, and a lot of the characters seem like very cliched characters. And the big like twist, like villain reveal at the end of the book, it's someone who we kind of thought it was the whole time. Like something happens towards the beginning, we're like, oh, it's that guy did it. And then throughout the book, it feels like she's trying to make us doubt what we first knew. And then like, oh, well, maybe it was this guy, maybe it was this girl, maybe. But then at the end, it's revealed we're right all along. And I was like, oh, well, that wasn't too much of a twist. So I didn't like that. And I wasn't crazy about the characters. And the dialogue left a lot to be desired. That being said, I didn't hate the book. I thought it had some really interesting parts. I always love when there's stories about people who discover something about themselves and then work hard to hone it. So with this, it's, you know, all of the main characters had their own psychic powers, whether that was like telekinesis or for the guy Pyro, like being able to set fires with his mind. Like things like that, watching them learn about the powers, watching them learn how to control them. I thought those parts of the story were interesting. There wasn't any point where I was like, oh, I'm not going to keep reading this. And I will say, the sort of bits that were cliched and the dialogue that was cringy, it tended to be just more in the beginning. It felt like as it went on, their dialogue got more realistic to me. So if you can get past, if you're interested in stories like that, like I am, about, you know, taking something sort of magical and using it in a real world sense, then you'd probably like this if you don't mind cheesy cliche dialogue towards the beginning. It just felt like it had the feel in a lot of ways of a YA book. And YA, if you don't know, stands for young adult. And some people love reading YA books, even if they're adults. So it doesn't, you know, if that's your thing, have at it. However, it's not my thing, and I just had a lot of YA vibes when I was reading this, and to the point that I don't think when the next book in the series comes out, I don't think I would read it, just because I wasn't invested in the characters the way that I hoped I would be. There's no tied up finish to this book, but I don't really care that much about what happens to these people, which is too bad, because I was excited about this book. It was nothing like I thought it was going to be. Even from reading the blurb on the back, I just thought it was going to be one thing, and it just wasn't that for me. However, if that's your thing, you'd probably love it. I think I'm probably even going to possibly give it to my daughter to read. She's 14, and I think she would enjoy it. So there you go, you guys. I don't even want to really get into too much of a long, drawn-out telling you about the story, just because there isn't a definitive ending, so I just kind of be leaving you on a cliffhanger anyway, and since I'm not going to be reading the next one, what's the point? That's just like, what's the point? So if you like young adult novels, or novels that read like they're young adult novels even though all the characters are adults, this is for you. And I know plenty of people who love that, so I'm not saying that as a negative thing. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I might be posting a video tomorrow, I'm not sure, but I will definitely be back on Monday. See you guys.